Our app is ugly. I'm not sorry about it, but I am going to give you the tools to do something about it. We've created several HTML templates and you can use all the HTML you like in these files. But since most websites look the same from page to page, it would make more sense to keep the parts that are the same in one parent template, and the individual templates would just have the parts that change on each page. Django provides excellent support for that. I haven't used a template system that I like better than Django's. It has, in my opinion, the perfect balance of flexibility and power. Our simple application is going to have one parent template and several child templates. We've already created 2 child templates, now we need a parent. Sometimes this file will be standard plain HTML document with no Django variables or tags in it, but it can have the same dynamic content that we've been using in the children. Let's create a new template called master.html. You can call it whatever you want, and it may make sense to use a different naming convention in your projects. For example, if you have a few different master templates, for example, one that has a sidebar and one that doesn't, we don't need that flexibility here though. Let's create a simple but complete HTML document. It has a head section with a title tag, and it has a body tag. In the body, we have a heading with the name of the site and an empty container div. Let's start out by putting a block tag in the container. This block looks for content. Now if we switch back to our home template, we then add a tag at the top that extends master.html. Then we take our existing HTML and wrap it in a block tag that exactly matches the one from master. It's important that since we use content in the master template, we use that same one here. When we refresh the browser, we see our heading from the master template. Yay! We can take this concept a little further. Let's add another block for the title tag, but this time we'll put some content inside the block in master template. This will be default values, used in case the child template doesn't define a block. We'll set the title to blather, all the news you don't care about. Now let's go to our detail template and wrap it in the block like we did the home template. We'll also add another block for the title. This one will contain the phrase blat details. Save and check the title of the detail page. It works. Now look at the home page. It's using the default value. Great. You'd never publish a site like this. You'd want to add a little bit of CSS and images. As you might guess, Django provides some helpers to simplify static files. If we make a folder called static in our Blat app, we can put our static files in there. It's a good idea to namespace them the same way we did our templates. So in this case, we'll create a subfolder called Blat where we keep our static files. Yes, this is clunky, but doing it this way gives us the capability to let Django combine and minimize our files for us when we go to production. Create a file called style.css in this new static Blat folder. Now we can simply add a style rule in here. Let's make our headings green. Then, in our master template, we need to include our static file much the same way we use the URL tag. Before we can use static files though, we need to use a static files template tag. Then the path to the static file is static blat style.css. Even though we're just using CSS files, you can put any static file you like. You can put images, videos, fonts, PDFs, whatever you want. Then you can link to them using A tags, embed them using image tags, anything you want. If you refresh your browser, your headline should be green. Now our site looks professional. We're nearly done, but I want to cover one major feature that Django provides. Most sites have a logo that links back to the root of the site, and they may have a navigation bar that links to other pages. We really just have one page in the navigation, and that's the home page. We can make the header a link to the home page by just setting the href to a /, but Django has a better way. If you notice in our urls.py file, we have a name attribute on URL. For example, there's the home page. We can use that when we're making links. If we put our h1 in an a tag, then for the href we can use the Django URL tag. The URL takes an attribute that is a string matching this name. In the case of our homepage, we'd set the string to homepage. Then we can check it in our browser and confirm that it did indeed link to home. If we change the URL in urls.py, we would see the change happen and the URL would point to the right place. If we wanted to link to a particular blat detail, we could. In this app, that would be silly, but there are good reasons to do it in other apps. However, the blat URL is dynamic and takes a parameter. That's no problem. If we change homepage to detail, then we can put the blat ID of the blat we want to link to as a parameter like this. This is great because if you change your URLs down the road, you don't have to go edit all your templates. Note that if you get an error about a remainder, make sure you're using the tag syntax rather than the variable syntax. You need the %. If you use this feature consistently through your apps, you'll reap big maintenance benefits over time. There's a lot you can do above what I've shown in this video series, but what you've seen here is enough to do a lot of common apps, and the Django docs are great at helping you learn. So what did we cover? Well, we created a simple view, then we made some templates. Because our view was a variant of a very common case, we switched to using generic list view and then added a generic detail view. Once we had the pieces working, we added a little bit of styling, and we made use of Django's URL feature. In the next section, we'll learn how to use authentication so that we can allow people who are authenticated to have separate actions from people who aren't.